Which career-enhancing school assignment ended up being a complete waste? I was a sergeant with 6 years in when my company commander called me into his office. Captain Brennan had this huge smile on his face. That should have been my first warning sign. Sergeant Hollis, congratulations. You've been selected for the Advanced Leadership Development course in Virginia. 3 weeks of intensive training with the best instructors in the Army. This will look amazing on your promotion packet. I was thrilled. Only 10 soldiers from the entire brigade got picked. This was supposed to be the fast track to staff sergeant. My buddies were jealous. My wife was proud. First red flag came when I arrived at the training facility. It wasn't on a military base. It was a rundown conference center next to a highway rest stop. The parking lot had more weeds than pavement. Inside, I met the other 9 soldiers selected for this prestigious course. We introduced ourselves, comparing assignments and experience levels. Everyone seemed solid, professional. Then our instructor walked in. Civilian contractor named Vance Sutherland. Had to be 70 years old. Wore a suit from 1985 with a tie that looked like a bad Christmas present. Welcome, future leaders, he announced. Over the next 3 weeks, I will transform you into management professionals using cutting-edge business techniques. He turned on a projector. The first slide said, Synergy Solutions for the Modern Battlefield in Comic Sans font. I felt my stomach drop. Day 1 was 8 hours of PowerPoint slides about corporate team building. Vance kept using phrases like thinking outside the box and paradigm shifts. None of it had anything to do with actual military leadership. We watched a video from 1992 about effective communication strategies. The quality was so bad you could barely see the screen. Vance kept stopping it to add his own commentary that somehow made everything worse. Now, in the business world, we call this leveraging human capital, he'd say, pointing at the fuzzy screen. One soldier, Corporal Quincy, raised his hand. Sir, how does this apply to leading soldiers in combat? Vance looked confused. Well, combat is really just aggressive negotiations with hostile stakeholders. We all stared at him. Nobody knew what to say to that. Day 3, Vance brought in props. Made us do trust falls and team building exercises I'd seen in middle school gym class. Grown soldiers with combat experience catching each other while Vance talked about fostering collaborative environments. Specialist Reed pulled me aside during lunch. This is a joke, right? They're testing us to see if we'll speak up about terrible training? I wish that was true. But no, this was real. We were stuck here. Week 2 introduced the personality tests. Hour after hour of filling out questionnaires about our management styles. Vance would analyze the results using a system he'd invented himself. You're a blue-green leader with orange tendencies, he told me seriously. That means you lead with your heart but think with your left brain. I had no idea what that meant. Pretty sure Vance didn't either. The final week was role-playing scenarios. Vance would describe ridiculous situations and we had to act out leadership responses. One scenario involved negotiating with an angry customer at a coffee shop who received the wrong order. Remember, the customer is always right, Vance coached. Use your active listening skills. Lieutenant Everett finally snapped. Sir, with respect, none of us work at coffee shops. We lead soldiers in actual dangerous situations. Vance nodded sagely. But you see, leadership principles are universal. A coffee shop is just a battlefield with espresso machines. On graduation day, we received certificates printed on glossy paper from an office supply store. Mine had a typo in my name, said Sergeant Dennis Hollis instead of Sergeant Derek Hollis. Captain Brennan was waiting when I got back to base. Still had that huge smile. How was the course, Sergeant? Learn a lot? I chose my words carefully. It was definitely an experience, sir. 2 months later, I found out the truth from the battalion's sergeant major. The course wasn't career-enhancing at all. It was where they sent people who'd pissed off the wrong officer or needed to be kept away from important work. Turned out Captain Brennan hated me because I dated his sister before he transferred to our unit. Years ago, before either of us were at this base. He'd been looking for a way to waste my time without it being obvious retaliation. 3 weeks in a conference center learning about paradigm shifts and coffee shop diplomacy. That was his revenge. The real kicker? 6 months later, Captain Brennan got relieved of command for a completely unrelated incident. His replacement was a major who'd attended the same useless course 3 years earlier. First thing he did was pull my file. Saw I'd survived the Advanced Leadership Development course. Hollis, you made it through Vance's torture chamber. That takes patience. You're promoted to staff sergeant effective immediately. Anyone who can sit through that course without going insane has the temperament we need. Got my promotion because I suffered through the worst training in military history. Captain Brennan accidentally career enhanced me while trying to sabotage me.